Hey, every year 100 million crabs take over this Christmas island in the Indian Ocean. Now that's a lot of crabs, and it's a really small island. There's not much room to fit them on there. It's about 20 kilometers long, and you can get from one end of the island to the other end of the island in like 20 minutes or so. Now, if you watch my other video, the web series video I made on Christmas Island, it's web series episode 3, then you know all about Christmas Island, and you know that it was called Christmas Island because one of the guys that sailed past it, he actually saw the island, and he saw it on Christmas Day. And that was like a few hundred years ago, but that's why they call it Christmas Island. Most of the island's a park. There's about 2,000 people that live there, and pretty much all of them live near this Flying Fish Cove, which is in the north part of the island. And that's the capital of the island. And who owns the island? It's near Indonesia, it's near Java, but it's actually a part of Australia. When we checked out the island, one thing you can't help but notice is all the signs on this island that say watch out for the crabs. You can't drive on the island and not see the signs that say to watch out for crabs. The first sign of the airport is this huge sign that says don't drive over robber crabs, drive around them, even in four-wheel drives. Now, I don't know why they had to say even in four-wheel drives. Was there someone that was trying to kind of come up with an excuse for driving over the crabs by saying they were in their four-wheel drive? Maybe. But someone didn't like it, and they put it on the sign. Another place shows like a yellow sign that says, and this is near the beach, says slow down, drive around. And then there's another one that says crabs cross here. And my favorite one, which is in Flying Fish Cove, says watch out for crabs. It says watch out, I mean crabs about. That was it. And we were just there for kind of a few minutes. You get the point really quick. Don't drive over the crabs. If you do, I don't know what they're going to do to you. Maybe you'll end up in like this little courthouse they have there. It kind of looks like a shed. You don't want to go there. It's really small, and even though it has like this blue trim on it, you don't want to go there. Anyway, apparently the crabs come out in November, and they all head for the shore to do like this mating thing. It's been called like one of the world's most impressive migrations. They kind of take over the beach, and it's when the moon is changing between like the full moon and the new moon. And it's before sunrise and right when the rainy season like beginning. So the rainy season there goes from December to March. So it's usually November when the rainy season's beginning and this happens. Sometimes it can happen as early as October if the rain comes early enough, or as late as December. And what happens is females go to the beach to do their thing, and the crabs hatch by the millions. Each female crab can actually make 100,000 crabs, which is a lot. And the baby crabs are really small, and they kind of even look like ants. And now what was like one of the most interesting things I found was there's this Sir David Attenborough, and he actually called Christmas Island the Kingdom of the Crabs. Most of the crabs there are like these red crabs, and there's like 14 different types of them. And they live on the island, and they think most of the crabs actually live in like the shade on the island. Robber crabs, or the coconut crabs, there can grow to be like the size of like a dinner plate or a football. And they're called that because they can rip open coconuts with their claws. And there was actually this explorer there, and he noticed these crabs could rip open coconuts with their claws, and he told like the people back in the UK that this crab can rip open a coconut with its claws. And I think they were pretty surprised because I don't think there's anything like that in the UK. But actually, the crabs too can like cover the roads, and they have to watch out because they really can run over them really easily. And they try and put like these barriers by the sides of the roads and these bridges so the crabs can go over the roads, or basically a tunnel so the crabs can go under the roads. Some of the roads are closed, but you can actually hear too like the crabs moving around all the time. Like they make this sound, like this shuffling sound, just picking stuff up and moving, and they kind of sound like rain, they say. They actually end up like everywhere too. They end up in stores and schools, in people's shoes, and you can't drive around without running over them. They're thinking that it's like 2 million crabs a year they're running over, and some crabs that actually break your tires. When the people are going to the golf course, if a crab pushes a golf ball into the hole, they count it as in. The small crabs too can actually be like sand. You can scoop them up and you can like move them over, and no one knows what to do with like all of these crabs. And if you see the cats and the dogs, they kind of just like play around with them. Any of the leftover crabs like on the roads or anything are eaten by other crabs. So crabs eat other crabs. You can't eat them. They're not edible by people. And some of the crabs can survive for like 10 years or so. Also, you can see some birds on this island, and you can go diving and see like whale sharks, which is like some of the biggest like creatures in the ocean. Another interesting thing was that it was really hard to find this, but there used to be a lot of rats on this island. This island used to be more known for rats. And what happened was there was a captain that went there, and he was actually sleeping in a hammock, and he said a few rats came on top of him. And he said, like, what happened was he was really scared, because if this rats are coming on top of him and he's awake, he wasn't sure, like, what happened when he was sleeping. Like, if he was covered by these things. But anyway, the rats were wiped out. They were a special type of rat. And what happened was when people came on ships, they brought, like, a different type of rat. And that rat had, like, this special type of bug on it. And it wiped out these rats on the island. And what actually happened, too, was they didn't just bring rats on the ships. They brought, like, ants, too. And they brought these crazy ants. They actually called them crazy ants. And what happens is now these crazy ants are like attacking the red crabs. And they're killing them. And at first, when the crazy ants came, they didn't do anything because they were just in these colonies with like one queen. And there wasn't that many of them. But what happened was like they changed. And now apparently they're making like colonies with like more than one queen, and they basically made just so many colonies, and such big colonies that they took over the island. And now like they attack like the red crabs there and anything else, and they spray like this special type of acid, this formic acid on the red crabs, and they can kill a red crab in like 2 hours. And at the same time they blind them too. And they completely cover them and attack them. And they also attack like birds and other animals too there. And then as for the crabs, like the ones that come out of the fresh batch of crabs, those crabs can come back in 4 years, and they can keep the tradition going again. So check out my other web series on episode 3. I go to Christmas Island, I check it out. And you can check out my other videos too. And subscribe.